Our society worships the grind, constantly pushing, striving, forcing outcomes into existence. But what if I told you that everything mainstream culture teaches about manifestation is completely backward? What if the harder you chase your dreams, the further they slip away? In quantum manifestation, this hustle mindset doesn't just backfire, it actively pushes away what you want. The quantum realm operates on completely different rules. It ignores your desperation and responds only to inner harmony. This harmony emerges when what you feel inside matches what you claim to desire. Here's where most people sabotage themselves. They chase wealth while their energy screams poverty. They seek love while broadcasting deep loneliness. They declare independence while their body language whispers fear. The universe reads this internal contradiction. Not your spoken words or Pinterest boards or midnight rituals. The secret nobody reveals is this. Manifestation isn't about asking. It's about transforming into the person who already has it. The quantum field, this invisible web of endless possibilities, doesn't care about your hustle. It mirrors your inner frequency. Your role isn't to force outcomes, but to match the vibration of your desired reality. To abandon the chase and step into being. This confuses most people. They've heard advice like, embody your success or feel the wish fulfilled. But it seems impossible or fake. That's because they're missing the fundamental truth. The energy of allowing is what actually draws things to you. Quantum physics reveals that your attention shapes reality, but only when it carries expectation instead of panic. When you look at life through confidence and inner knowing, possibilities crystallize into physical form. When you observe through anxiety and desperation, those same possibilities remain forever out of reach, floating as maybes, never becoming reality. Stop here for a moment. This isn't about pointing fingers. It's about understanding how your internal energy speaks to the cosmos. Picture adjusting a radio frequency. If you want to hear 105.3 FM but your receiver is stuck on 92.5, no amount of wishing will bring you that song. You must first tune your own dial. Quantum manifestation works the same way. Instead of begging the universe to change, you align with the frequency where your dream life already broadcasts. This bridges ancient teachings with cutting-edge science. Neville Goddard emphasized living as if your goal was already achieved, feeling the emotional essence of your desired outcome. Today, Joe Dispenza explains how mental and emotional coherence sends clear signals to the quantum field. Abraham Hicks describes entering the flow state, that emotional zone where struggle dissolves and magnetism begins. Here's the core issue. Simplicity threatens the ego. We've been programmed to believe worth comes through struggle, that growth requires suffering, that success demands endless effort. But quantum laws work in reverse. The more you chase, the more you confirm what's missing. The harder you push, the stronger the resistance becomes. That's why this content is called Why No One Gets Quantum Manifestation, even though it's simple. Simplicity lacks glamour. It can't be packaged and sold easily. It's not Instagram-worthy, but it's where real transformation starts. This is why the manifestation industry has become so complicated. They've turned something natural into a complex system of steps, stages, and techniques, because complexity sells. It makes people feel like they're working towards something, but the quantum field doesn't recognize your effort. It only recognizes your state of being. You could meditate for 8 hours a day, but if you're doing it from a place of desperation, you're actually reinforcing the very thing you're trying to change. The ancient masters understood this. They spoke in parables and simple truths because they knew that the most profound transformations happen through the smallest shifts in awareness. When Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe," he wasn't talking about mental belief. He was talking about embodied knowing. When Buddha spoke of detachment, he wasn't suggesting indifference. He was pointing to the power of allowing instead of forcing. In the coming sections, we'll dive deeper. We'll uncover how to reshape your energetic blueprint, how the field reflects your inner world, and how to embody the version of yourself that magnetizes instead of chases. But first, absorb this truth. The life you want already exists somewhere in the quantum field. In quantum mechanics, every possible outcome exists simultaneously. Your task is to select that reality, not through force, but through frequency matching. So stop the endless pursuit and start embodying. Not someday, not when circumstances change, not when the money appears. This moment, that's when the field awakens to you. If reality is a mirror, what exactly does yours reflect back to you? Most people treat manifestation like a checklist. Meditate every morning, speak positive words, journal their goals repeatedly. While these habits can help, they often become empty routines, trying to change the reflection while leaving the source unchanged. The quantum field responds to your authentic being, not your performance. Being isn't pretending you're wealthy while your stomach knots over bills. It's not claiming to trust divine timing while frantically checking for updates. True being means alignment, where your inner experience matches the reality you're calling forth. Joe Dispenza describes it this way: thoughts carry electrical charge, while emotions hold magnetic power. Combined, they broadcast an energetic signature into the quantum field. This field, containing every possible reality, begins reshaping itself according to your broadcast signal. Not based on what you hope for, but what you currently embody. Let me illustrate this. Say you desire complete financial freedom. If you constantly worry, obsessively monitor your accounts, and imagine financial disasters, your energetic signature radiates scarcity. Scarcity energy doesn't magnetize abundance. It attracts more scarcity experiences. The field isn't making moral judgments. It simply reflects whatever frequency you're consistently transmitting. Here's the game changer. The fastest way to shift your signal isn't pursuing a different future, but embodying it right now. Feel it presently. Practice your desired reality's emotional signature until it becomes second nature. Not as deception, but as remembering. Because in the infinite quantum multiverse, that successful version of you already exists. When you emotionally and mentally sync with that version, you start collapsing that timeline into your current experience. This transcends positive thinking. Neuroscience shows that mental rehearsal literally rewires brain pathways. When you vividly imagine future scenarios while generating corresponding emotions, gratitude, excitement, peace, your brain builds neural networks as if those events were actually happening. Practice this consistently, and your body becomes accustomed to the future before it materializes. When your body truly believes, the field responds accordingly. Neville Goddard taught this principle when he said, "Live in the end." He didn't mean fake it. He meant merge with it, completely. Allow the feeling of your fulfilled desire to become more tangible than your current situation. Let it become so familiar that your nervous system recalibrates to this new normal. Because here's what most miss. Manifestation isn't requesting cosmic favors. It's meeting the version of yourself who already inhabits that reality and bringing that version into the present moment. Not through effort, but through energetic resonance. When that resonance stabilizes, the field mirrors it back as lived experience. A profound shift occurs when you stop seeking external signs and become the sign yourself. When you stop hunting for meaningful coincidences and start living synchronistically. That's when reality becomes malleable. That's when time feels elastic. That's when everything clicks into place effortlessly. Not through luck, but through coherence. In quantum mechanics, conscious observation collapses the wave function, transforming potential into reality. But observation quality matters enormously. Observation infused with trust and emotional clarity carries more reality-shaping power than observation clouded by fear and uncertainty. So examine this. What version of reality do you consistently observe from within? When people suggest act as if, they're not promoting fake confidence or personality masks. They mean stepping into the emotional stance of someone who already knows their success is inevitable. Someone who doesn't wait for external proof, but embodies the evidence beforehand. This marks the beginning of frequency mastery. When you achieve this, you don't attract reality. You become the gravitational force that draws it in. Since we understand the quantum field gives you what you are, rather than what you want, the next question becomes, how do you collapse possibility into physical form? Quantum physics shows that all potential realities exist in superposition. Your dream career, perfect relationship, financial breakthrough, these aren't distant fantasies but present possibilities awaiting selection. They don't materialize simply because you think about them. They manifest when your observation, your concentrated awareness, triggers the wave collapse. But this requires specific observation. This isn't casual daydreaming. The quantum field responds to emotionally charged attention, to observation saturated with belief, trust, embodiment, and energetic alignment. When you feel your future as current reality, you begin imprinting that version into the unified field. You don't pursue it, you stabilize it. Through this process, the universe responds. Joe Dispenza explains this requires coherence, synchronization between mind and heart. Most people exist in mental chaos and emotional discord. Their thoughts desire one thing while their emotions broadcast lack. Their actions scatter randomly, driven by fear or doubt. In this fragmented state, the field can't locate a clear frequency to mirror. When your mind and heart achieve coherence, your signal amplifies dramatically. You stop sending contradictory messages. You broadcast a unified frequency of trust, gratitude, and certainty. The energetic signature of someone who has already become what they once merely wished for. If you're finding value in this, hit that like button and subscribe for more quantum insights that actually work. From a neurobiological perspective, emotions trigger corresponding chemical releases in your body. Gratitude generates dopamine and oxytocin. Trust produces serotonin. These chemicals don't just create good feelings, they transform your entire physiological state. And your state determines your point of attraction. If you can generate these emotions independently of external conditions, you reclaim your creative authority. You stop reacting to life and start informing it. This is how reality transformation begins. But here's what most people don't realize about this process. Your body is literally a quantum antenna. Every cell in your body is vibrating at specific frequencies. And when you shift your emotional state, you're actually tuning this biological antenna to broadcast on different channels. Modern science is discovering that our DNA itself responds to emotional states, that our genes can be turned on or off based on the feelings we consistently generate. This means you're not just thinking your way into a new reality. You're literally becoming it at a cellular level. When you feel grateful, your body produces different proteins than when you feel fearful. When you feel abundant, your neural pathways fire differently than when you feel lack. You're not pretending to be someone else. You're activating the dormant aspects of who you already are. This is why visualization alone often fails. People imagine their desired outcome, but their body remains calibrated to their current reality. The quantum field reads the body's signals more than the mind's images. It's not enough to see yourself successful. You must feel yourself successful at a cellular level. You must become familiar with the physical sensation of already having what you desire. Neville Goddard often said that your assumptions crystallize into facts. He meant this. Your consistent emotional assumptions create gravitational pull that restructures your world. External reality becomes a mirror of internal reality. This isn't mere philosophy, it's physics, supported by our current understanding of observation effects, quantum entanglement, and coherence principles. The observation effect demonstrates that focused attention expands what you concentrate on. More importantly, it transforms it. You're not passively watching a predetermined future unfold. You're actively sculpting it through every thought, emotion, and choice you make. So how do you sustain this? How do you live as though your desired reality already exists? This is where most people stumble. They briefly touch the right frequency during meditation or journaling, then immediately return to worry, doubt, endless scrolling, and reinforcing their old identity. That's like planting seeds, then digging them up daily to check for growth. Manifestation demands energetic consistency, not perfection, but repeatedly returning to the version of you who already possesses it. Not just mentally, but emotionally. Not just verbally, but behaviorally. Even in small ways. Move as if. Breathe as if. Choose as if. Every tiny alignment accumulates. Each moment you select. Here's where it becomes thrilling. Once you stabilize that vibration, reality responds with what people call synchronicity. Unexpected doors opening. Intuitive insights. Sudden clarity. Perfect timing with others. This isn't mysticism, it's the field reorganizing around your signal. But there's something deeper happening here that most people miss. These synchronicities aren't random gifts from the universe. They're evidence that you've begun operating from a different timeline. In quantum physics, parallel realities exist simultaneously. When you shift your frequency, you don't create a new reality. You slide into a different one that was always there. Think of it like changing channels on a television. The programs on all channels exist simultaneously, but you can only see the one you're tuned to. When you shift your internal frequency, you begin picking up the signals from a different channel, one where your desires are already fulfilled. The synchronicities are like previews, showing you that the channel is coming in clearly. This is why timing becomes so crucial in manifestation. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts the right moments. When you're aligned with your desired timeline, the universe doesn't have to rearrange itself to accommodate you. It simply reveals what was already there, waiting for your frequency to match it. Most people experience brief glimpses of this alignment. They have days when everything flows perfectly, when doors open effortlessly, when people say exactly what they need to hear. Then they wonder how to get back to that state. The secret is that you never actually left. You just tuned to a different channel. The key is learning to maintain your frequency regardless of what appears to be happening around you. You'll recognize approaching manifestation when you feel it in your core, not as excitement or impatience, but as unshakable certainty, quiet knowing, profound inevitability. That's when you stop asking, "When will it happen?" and start feeling, "It's already mine." At this stage, you've graduated from wishful thinking to energetic authority. You've bridged the gap between possibility and embodiment. From here, shifts begin, not only in external circumstances, but in how you perceive everything. You stop needing validation because your frequency provides its own evidence. You've collapsed the wave, and the life you once visualized now visualizes you back. When you start living from your desired end state instead of toward it, everything transforms. But honestly, this is where most people get trapped, not from lack of belief, but from not knowing how to become their desire. They attempt to think their way into a new life without feeling it. They hope for change while maintaining identical patterns. The field, quantum manifestation, isn't about maintaining positive thoughts until something magically materializes. It's about becoming energetically compatible with the timeline you're seeking to access. That timeline, that version of you, already exists. You're not constructing it from nothing. You're selecting it by matching your energy to its broadcasting frequency. How do you know you're aligning properly? You stop obsessing over methods. You stop seeking validation, signs, or guarantees. You become less reactive to external circumstances and more attuned to your internal calibration. Abraham Hicks frequently says, "You can't get there from there." This means you cannot manifest the version of yourself who is free, peaceful, and fulfilled while operating from urgency, frustration, or lack. You must begin acting, choosing, and especially feeling as though you're already there. That's when something miraculous starts happening. You begin attracting different thoughts, not the ones you force yourself to think, but the ones that naturally belong to that version of you. Your intuition becomes laser sharp. You perceive new pathways opening. Synchronicities grow bolder. Reality becomes more flexible. Time appears to bend unusually. It's as though life accelerates to meet your energy. There's a phenomenon that quantum physicists call quantum entanglement, where particles that have interacted remain connected regardless of distance. Once they've been entangled, affecting one instantly affects the other. This same principle applies to manifestation. When you truly entangle your consciousness with your desired reality, changes in your internal state instantly affect your external circumstances. You don't have to wait for the universe to catch up. It's already connected to you. This entanglement explains why some people seem to manifest instantly while others struggle for years. It's not about worthiness or special abilities. It's about the depth of entanglement with their desired outcome. When you're truly entangled with your goal, there's no separation between you and it. It's not something you're trying to attract. It's something you already are. The challenge is that most people create entanglement with their problems instead of their solutions. They become so focused on what's wrong, so emotionally invested in their struggles, that they quantum entangle with more of the same. They think about their debt more than their wealth, their loneliness more than their love, their limitations more than their possibilities. And the universe, being neutral, simply mirrors back whatever they're most entangled with. Joe Dispenza explains that entering elevated emotional states, gratitude, love, wonder, triggers gamma coherence between brain and heart. In this state, your nervous system opens to new patterns. Your field becomes magnetic, making manifestation feel natural. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you've become the portal through which that reality flows. This is why we say, stop chasing, start attracting. It's not about more effort, it's about better calibration. If you've ever experienced moments when everything just flowed, when perfect opportunities appeared without struggle, when someone said exactly what you needed to hear, you felt the quantum field responding to your alignment. Now imagine choosing to live in that state. That's our goal here. Let me speak directly to your subconscious mind, because you're receiving this message for a specific reason. You've probably felt frustrated that your manifestation seems slow, that invisible blocks might be interfering, that maybe you're approaching this incorrectly. Here's the truth. You've always been closer than you realize. The fact that you're hearing these words right now proves your field is ready to shift. You're not damaged. You're not behind schedule. You don't need to chase anything anymore. You need to embody the version of yourself who has moved beyond chasing, the one who knows with quiet confidence, who radiates grounded magnetism. That version already exists within you. Every time you remember this truth, you collapse the gap between your current moment and your heart's desire. Let this be when you stop trying and start remembering. Let this be when you embody the version of yourself who lives as though it's already accomplished. Let this be the quantum moment when you shift from waiting to becoming. Here's something powerful to anchor this transformation. If this message resonates deeply, if you feel your next level beginning to align, comment 888 below. Why 888? In numerological and spiritual systems, 888 represents infinite abundance and perfect balance. It's an energetic code signifying that your manifestations are crystallizing into form. When you encounter 888, it's not merely a sign, it's a mirror reflecting that your internal reality is harmonizing with your highest potential. It confirms that your manifestation isn't just possible, it's already forming in your energetic field. When you type 888, you're not just participating, you're activating. You're claiming your alignment. You're becoming a resonance point for what you're ready to receive. In doing this, you amplify the frequency not only for yourself, but for everyone engaging here. That's how the field operates. It multiplies what we collectively affirm. There's actually a scientific basis for this collective amplification. Researchers have discovered what they call morphic resonance, the idea that when enough people learn something new or shift their consciousness, it becomes easier for others to access that same shift. It's like creating a pathway in the quantum field that others can follow. When you commit to your alignment in a space like this, you're not just transforming your own reality, you're making it easier for everyone else to do the same. This is why community and connection matter so much in manifestation. You're not meant to do this alone. The quantum field responds more powerfully to collective intention than individual effort. When groups of people align their consciousness towards similar outcomes, they create what scientists call coherent intention, a focused beam of consciousness that can literally reshape physical reality. Ancient cultures understood this principle. They gathered in circles, chanted together, moved together, all to create collective coherence that could manifest rain, healing, or abundance for the entire community. Modern prayer groups, meditation circles, and intention-setting gatherings are tapping into this same quantum principle. When consciousness aligns collectively, individual limitations dissolve. Go ahead, type 888 in the comments. Notice who else participates. Observe what shifts in your field afterward. Consider this your declaration to the universe. I no longer chase. I attract, because I already embody what I seek. If there's one message the quantum field consistently whispers to those ready to listen, it's this: nothing requires waiting. Every version of your life, every timeline, every possibility, every potential reality already exists in the quantum field. It's not something you force into existence. It's something you tune into through alignment. This shift doesn't demand years of effort or complicated methods. It begins the instant you stop searching for external signs and start embodying the internal signal. Consider this: the reality where your manifestations have already materialized isn't located somewhere distant. It's vibrationally neighboring your current experience. You don't need to leap across vast distances. You simply need to stop resonating with the reality you want to leave behind. This is what Neville Goddard meant by assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It's not wishful thinking. It's the science and spirituality of conscious selection. You're not asking life to transform into something. You're declaring to life, "This is who I am now." The field, being completely responsive to coherence, responds accordingly. But there's one requirement: authenticity. You cannot fake abundance while anchoring yourself in doubt. You cannot speak affirmations from a foundation of fear. You cannot meditate your way into transformation while mentally gripping your old identity. The quantum field isn't deceived by surface-level practices. It responds only to the vibration beneath your thoughts. That's precisely where your true power resides. How do you access this power? You practice coherence as a way of life. You choose alignment repeatedly. Not once, not when convenient, but as dedication, lifestyle, identity. You speak differently. You move differently. You treat yourself and others as though you already are that person. Eventually, you won't be performing anymore. You'll simply be living it. But let's be practical about this transformation. It doesn't mean you suddenly become a different person overnight. Instead, you begin making micro-adjustments in how you show up moment to moment. When faced with a decision, you ask, what would the version of me who already has this choose? When emotions arise, you question, is this feeling aligned with where I'm going or where I've been? When opportunities appear, you recognize, is this the universe responding to my new frequency? These small, consistent choices compound exponentially. Each aligned choice makes the next one easier. Each moment of coherence strengthens your quantum signal. It's like building muscle. You don't see dramatic changes after one workout, but consistent practice creates profound transformation over time. The key is to stop measuring progress by external circumstances and start measuring it by internal alignment. Are you more peaceful today than yesterday? Do you feel more confident in your knowing? Are you less reactive to external chaos? These internal shifts are the real indicators that your manifestation is working, even before you see physical evidence. This is the quantum secret behind manifestation that few discuss. Not because it's hidden, but because it's elegantly simple. Too simple for minds addicted to complexity. Too gentle for a world addicted to struggle. But that simplicity is your master key. The more you release the need to force outcomes, the more reality reshapes itself around your being. Allow yourself to trust this process. Stop waiting for proof and become the proof. Remember, the most powerful manifestations don't announce themselves dramatically. They arrive in quiet moments, felt deeply in your body. A shift in breathing, sudden peace, inner knowing. The universe speaks softly when delivering what you've already claimed energetically. So I ask you, what if the transformation you've been awaiting is actually waiting for you to stop waiting? What if your next timeline is observing you right now, waiting for the signal that declares, I'm ready, let's collapse this distance? If this resonates with you, leave a comment sharing your experience, intention, or personal affirmation. Let this space transcend a typical video. Let it become a frequency portal. Let your words become anchors in the quantum field. As you read through other comments, notice you're not alone in this journey. We form a collective field, a wave, a movement, and your coherence strengthens everyone. If this content activated something within you, consider subscribing, not just for information, but for genuine connection. This channel serves as sanctuary for those who understand the universe is always listening, for those prepared to become what they've been calling forth. You're not becoming powerful. You already are powerful. You're not learning manifestation. You're remembering how reality responds to your being. The moment you stop chasing and start aligning, manifestation becomes effortless. And that's when true magic begins. Now, once you've mastered this foundational understanding, you'll want to discover the specific quantum breakthrough that accelerates everything we've discussed. The video, Quantum Breakthrough Revealed. Master this and your reality transforms. Reveals the exact technique that makes reality shifting instantaneous rather than gradual.